Hi guys and welcome back to the channel, where today we will be checking out episode number 17 of Steins. We are marching ever closer to the end, and we're left now with several mysteries, but one mystery which no longer remains is the mystery of Suzuha's father, the mystery of Suzuha as a character. She was always very mysterious, always clouded and just cloaked in all this mystery, but now we know her true identity. We know everything that she has done and experienced as she has gone through her life, essentially. You know, she's from the future. Like you guys know, I'm not going to sit here and explain everything about her, but it's cool that we're getting those answers now. We're at the point where we're getting answers, and that's very exciting as someone who just has been enjoying all the mysteries and enjoying the theory crafting aspect and just everything that has come from this series. I'm hoping that we get to see that continue, and we're now just left with all these other remaining questions, and I just hope that we start to get answers to those soon. I hope that everything doesn't go to shit too much, and that by the end of this series our characters will be happy. That's all I want at this point. I just want them to see a happy ending. I just want all of them to be able to experience life, do the things that they want to do without having to worry about all of this implication with time travel and everything like that. Suzuha's story was a tragic one, and I genuinely might honestly consider the previous episode number 16, to be maybe my favorite of the series so far. I would need to go back and rethink, how I felt about each episode, but episode 16 was a special episode. That was a really well done episode from beginning to end. So yeah, we're going to dive into episode 17 now. We'll see what we get today. I imagine we'll maybe take a step back again, and by the end of the episode there'll be a new kind of issue that we need to deal with in the coming episodes. But yeah, I feel like this episode is going to take a bit of a step back and slow things down again once more, but we'll see what happens. So here we go, episode 17, Steins Gate. Let's go. All right, here we go. Nothing happened. Yeah, she survived. That was yesterday. You made it to the next day. Friday the 13th? Shit, I didn't even realize that was the date. That's crazy. Wow. Has she? That's the question. Like, yeah, there's no proving. Did you just delay it by a day? Oh my god. Is that real? Like, there's no way, right? It just got delayed by a day? I guess I'm not too surprised, because we didn't cross the 1% barrier and we were told that's what we would have to do to save Mayushi. But like, come on, like, after all of that and still nothing? Just one extra day? I guess at this point we need to erase all doubt. We have to go beyond the point of questioning whether we succeeded or not. We need to literally go beyond all, what's that word, like that saying, reasonable doubt or whatever. Okay, we're gonna tell you. In 2 hours? Jeez, we only went back 2 hours? We need to do that somehow. And we lost the IBN 5100 because of Moeka. All because of one Moeka. Yes. Oh shit. Oh, but like, you're going to ask Feyris, maid in complex. Oh no. So you're basically going to ask Feyris if she'll be okay with her father being dead again? That's awful. And Ruka to be a girl again, like, or a boy again? Aww. We're constantly leaving everyone behind. He said Kurisu. Oh, that's very touching for a moment like this. The little smile. Oh, that's such a cruel thing you keep doing, Okabe, where you say it right as you change things. You couldn't say it? Are you not gonna clue her in this time? Aww. Poor Feyris. I mean, I guess we're gonna get Akihabara back to the way it was. Of course!
UPX の会場今ライネット AB グラちゃんの決勝戦が
She's
終わったとこ
competing.
今まさにフェイリスターの優勝で終わったと
Of course it did. She's the world champ.
フェイリスが D メールを送った後、秋葉は昔の電気街に戻ってしまった。メールの内容はわからない。一体誰に何を
Yeah, what was it? That's gonna be the $1 million question. Like, how do we undo something we don't know? Oh shit! Save me! Daru's after me! Daru's being a creep! What? Is this just a bunch of nerds? Viral attackers? Don't take this shit way too serious. Yo, what a bunch of losers. Take off your cat ears, they'll never know who you are. The voice actors for these guys sound vaguely familiar. Oh shit, here we go. Yep, she doesn't have a clue. Never happened. Is her eye color different? Or am I crazy? These guys are relentless, they just don't give up, do they? Oh no! Okabe! You shouldn't have skipped cardio day.
俺たちがタイムマシンを作ったと言ったら信じるか
京馬の言うことなら信じるにゃ
そうか
フェイリスも異次元移動マシンを開発したところにゃ
例えば秋葉が萌えに溢れた街だったとするどんな方法を取る
She's not gonna know because the present she's living in is not one where she's ever had to consider what she undid in the past, you know?
実は前にパパに話したことがあるにゃ秋葉にもメイド喫茶をオープンさせたらどうかにゃ
That's what it was.
でも
Maybe?
残念ながらダメだって言われたにゃ
メイクインのことか
なんでその名前を知ってるの
So you have to convince him to let you do it?
あったんだよメイクインが
Ah, she sent a message about creating it or not?
街は変わってしまった一体どんなメールを送ったんだ
And that caused... Oh shit, is she having a mental break? Is she like seeing a future that she isn't aware of? Huh, that was very strange. But I feel like whatever she sent in the past, it was about like not opening the cafe or whatever, or doing some... I don't know, but it's... Whatever it is, the cafe is directly related to it.
ここにあったんだメイクインがお前が作ろうとしていた店がお前はここで働いていた
How do you take this, Feyris? Oh. Is your brain just gonna melt now because you're being exposed to two different world lines? Oh shit. That's really interesting that this is able to happen. We need to fix things. Like, we literally need to. Oh, I wish. She dies, but we can't tell her. Oh no. It saved her father's life.
フェイリス
How can you ask someone to just do
10
this?
年前に死んだパパを
Yeah.
生き返らせたにゃ。
I knew it. I knew it had to be that because we did not see him in that original version. What is with these nerds? Like, what is their deal?
さあお姫様来てもらいましょうね。
はい、メス猫を捕らえました。
話せ。
そこのお兄さん、まだカッコつける気。
Oh my god. Oh shit! What? What? Oh. Wow, Papa is just always there. So yeah, it's gonna be impossible for her to undo it.
よかった。
Yo, he is
本
wrecked.
当によかった。
He's beat to shit.
パパありがとう。
君には何とお礼を言ったらいいか。
Yeah, like, do we say, oh, you can thank us by dying?
私が
Like,
大会を見に行っていればこんなことにはならなかったのかもしれない。
damn. What do we do in this situation? Was that a little picture with Okabe?
橋田さんには申し訳ないことをしたが。
橋田さん橋田すずさんですか
知っているのかい？
Oh,
IBN5100 は彼
shit.
女から渡されたんだ。
手に入れてくれてた
She did. She completed her mission.
昔ルミホが誘拐されてね、身代金を用意することができなかった。
Don't tell me it was
そんな
CERN.
時 IBN5100 を高額で買い取りたいという人物が現れたんだよ。おかげで身代金を用意することができた。
Damn, what the hell do we do?
D メールを取り消したらあの人
オカリン D メールを送るの。そんなことしたら全部消えちゃうんだよ。
Yeah.
そうしないとマユリお前が
Feyris, we're gonna have a talk here because some crazy shit's happening and we need to be able to figure this out. Someone's gonna have to die.
そのさっきはありがとう。あんなに大勢の人たちから黒い感情をぶつけられるなんて初めてだったよ。
そういえば全員黒ずくめだったフェイリスどうしたんだ
ルミホって呼んでほしいな。
Well, we're on first name basis
今
now.
日も岡部さんがいなかったら
Oh shit, no more kill me either. We're actually...
言い直すないつも通りでいい
今日もはね、私の王子様だよ。
王子様俺は王子様ではない狂気のだな
マユシーの命が危ないって本当？
It is true. Very
10
sadly.
年前8歳の誕生日だった。パパと一緒に遊びに行こうって約束してたの。でも仕事でダメになっちゃって仕方がなかったんだけど、寂しくて愛されてないんじゃないかって思っちゃって、パパなんかもう知らない、死んじゃえばいいんだって。そしたらそれがパパとの最後の会話になっちゃった。その過去を変えたくて D メールを。
Oh
それで親父さ
shit.
んは事故を回避しお前が積極的に萌え文化を街に取り入れることもな
Is
く
that a message with a ransom
秋葉
note?
は
That's
電気がままだ
crazy.
ったというわけか
幸せだった。10年間
ルミホ
D メール送るね。パパは10年前に事故で死んでるの。それが真実。この10年間は夢。
Yeah, it's been a
一緒に
fantasy.
過ごしてどれだけ愛してくれていたのかも分かった。マユシーは私の友
It's
達
such
だ
an awful thing to ask
わがま
someone.
まなんか言っていられないよ。私世界線が変わる前のことを思い出
That's
した。
crazy that she's been able to remember.
変わった後のことも覚えてるんだよ。変わる前と後がごっちゃになってどっちが本当なのか。
Everything everywhere all at once? Damn, you really messed with her head, Kyoma.
今日のは私の王子様だもん。もう夢から覚めなくちゃね。
Very sad.
でも一つだけお願い。少しだけ
Of course. Cry as much as you need. This is a really cruel thing to have to ask of you, but thank you for listening to us, Feyris, and I guess for seeing and realizing yourself that this version of life that you've been living is not one that was supposed to exist. As awful as that is.
準備を。
お待たせにゃ
Oh, putting on a brave face.
ー。どうしたにゃ今日も元気がないにゃぞ。
Has she forgotten? At least the final words she
世
sends.
界が元に戻ったら今の記憶は全部なくなっちゃうのかにゃ。
きっと覚えているさ。
よかった。
That's a nice thought, but we have no proof of that.
今日までの時間は
Aww.
忘れたくないにゃ。
And you wouldn't want to forget your time with your father too. Like, let's be real.
バイバイパパ。
Oh, that's cruel. And now we have to ask Ruka. All these good things that we were able to do for people.
フェイリスの携帯知らないかにゃ。マユシーもわからないって言うし、残るはキョウマだけなんだけどにゃ。にゃ。キョウマ、この中のあれを見たのかにゃ。見たなら忘れるの。あれは封印しておかないといけないものにゃ。
She's very chipper.
あれってなんだよ。あれってなんだよ。
フェイリス。
にゃ。
こらこらこら、その手はなんだその手は。
キョウマとフェイリスは前世で大いなる闇と戦い愛し合った仲にゃ。深い仲なのにゃ。
Oh, they did defeat a darkness.
ひょっとしてフェイリスさんって岡部と同類。
Aw. She's got some sort of notion of something, but I don't know. And all I can do is say sorry. But Moe is back. We gotta do more. We gotta undo Ruka.
どこに。
Where did it go? What? Wait, that's way too soon? It's not supposed to be gone just yet. Suzuha? Huh. Yeah, like, I don't know. That's a curious one. That's a very curious one. And that was episode 17 of Steins Gate. A very tragic episode. Like, we have been getting very sad, tragic stuff very lately in Steins Gate, with having to undo a lot of stuff and redo a lot of stuff and change things to affect the future. And the last episode, episode 16, was one that really took me and just broke me almost. Like, it was a very hard episode to watch, but an incredible watch. Whereas this episode 17, it's setting up for the rest of the series, probably. I can't say that with certainty, but it's definitely setting up for a version or a future where we actually undo everything that we have done so far by changing all these different things that have affected world lines and everything. So we are going to now go and have to undo Ruka sending the message to eat more meat or eat more vegetables. I can't remember what it was. And then after that, we're going to have to change the world line where we win the lotto, I think. There might have been something else. Oh no, it's Moeka's before that comes after that, and then it's the lotto. So we've got a lot on our plate coming up, and some of that stuff's pretty scary to think about, because Ruka finally got what she wanted, and we're going to have to take that away from her. It's the same thing that happened in this episode with Feyris. Feyris has lived her whole life wanting and longing for a future and a life with her father. I guess you could say that bargaining was kind of where she was at when she sent that D-mail. She sent a D-mail bargaining, and that you can take that literally with the whole ransom thing, that she was literally bargaining to save her father's life. And within this episode, we did see that acceptance, like the final stage of grief, acceptance, and moving on, as hard as that is. But at the same time, like, it's painfully impossible to imagine for me having to ask someone that. Like, how do you bring yourself to that point where you ask someone to accept the fact that their father will die, accept the fact that they will not be happy in their own body, and accept the fact that these things need to change because these things weren't supposed to be. You are supposed to be living in this other future, this other version of this world line where that is not the case. And it's terrible because we see that they're happy. in these new versions, these new world lines, and we have to take that happiness away. And within this episode, Okabe and Feyris were having a conversation where Feyris said, I can't be selfish. I need to undo this because it's not supposed to be. And so it made me start thinking like, well, talking about selfishness, like, can we say in this instance that Okabe is the one being selfish because he's taking away this life for you? He's taking away this happiness for himself. Like, we have never once confronted Mayushi about this and told Mayushi what's going on. Maybe Mayushi would say in that moment, forget about it, let me die, and allow the others to live happy lives. We don't know if that's what she would say or not, but it's definitely a possibility knowing the kind of character Mayushi is. She doesn't want to change anything. She doesn't want people to forget. She doesn't want people to live lives that they will not enjoy. She is a very happy person who thinks about others and cares about the moments, in the moments, opposed to the possibility of what could have been or what could be or just anything like that. And like, I'm just like, my brain, the cogs are just turning, and I'm thinking like, are we going to go all the way back to episode 1? Are we going to meet with Mayushi? Are we going to take the Metal Upa? What is the Metal Upa's purpose? If it has a purpose, are we going to kill Kurisu? Are we going to do something so drastic within episode 1 that causes this beta world line? Like, what happens, what changes, and what will cause this? What will be the effect, and what do we actually do once we get to the end? Because we are going to have to undo a lot of things that we have done in this series, and it's kind of crazy because I think the first episode was called like the beginning of the end of the beginning of the end or something like that. Like, I'm probably misremembering. I can't actually remember. Let me check that. It's called Prologue to the Beginning of the End. So like, I have been thinking for a while that the final episode will be telling the true story and the full of what happened in episode 1, because as things are, we don't have a clue what half of that stuff means. We have to undo all these scenarios where we sent D-mails that created split world lines. And the very first one we saw was in episode 1. And I guess Kurisu does not know about that because she does not mention it. She mentions the other times, and the first that she knows of was Lotto, winning the Lotto. But we as viewers know that there was one that came before that. And I wonder if Okabe is also forgetting that, or if he is realizing that but not sharing it because he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to go back and change that. The only thing I can think of is that Okabe is placed in this building where the satellite crashes and he dies. Do I think things are going to go that drastic? Maybe not, but I just don't know. I just don't know what is going to happen within that final probably episode, the beginning of the end, you know, the actual finale, like how we wrap things up, how we fix things, because we know the trajectory of the series right now. We know that we have to go back and undo all of these D-mails that we've sent. So in a way, we're returning the series to the original point. Like, we are setting things all the way back to the way things were in episode 1, but this time we have the reading Steiner, the Eye of Steiner, whatever it was called, and we are remembering all of these things in order to go back and change them. And so we are going to be able to affect a future, but we have to go back and reset things to the way things were, but with a new perspective, with new memories, if you will. And it's also making me wonder, like, I always thought it was strange that the first time he crossed a world line, everyone in the city disappeared except Mayushi. I hope that gets explained at some point, because if it doesn't, it'll still have me scratching my head like, what was that about? I'm sure there might be theories or answers out there, but I'm just hoping we get the answers within the series itself. I guess the episode starts very cruelly. Like, it's almost like they wanted to lure us into a false sense of security, where we saw Mayushi survive at the end of the previous episode. We learned that they have survived another day, but right as we're getting comfortable, because Okabe is like, I managed to save her, I hope everything's okay, I wonder if she'll still die, and we're kind of like, no, things are going to be okay, because we're going to be hopeful, we're going to be optimistic. But that's when we get the same voice line about her stopwatch not working. Okabe looks at the sand timer, it stopped working, and they burst in and they kill her. Just mean, awful, cruel shit right there. But we allowed her to live one more day. And I guess that's what matters here. We allowed her to live one more day. And we are learning that we're making progress. But I hope that with each step we make with progress, it doesn't just give her one extra day to live. Because if we're just giving her, like, what, 3 or 4 extra days to live, like, at that point we might as well just let everyone be happy and live their lives that they want, because we're not going to be able to change anything to allow her to live further than those 4 days. And yeah, I guess we'll get those answers when we get those answers, because we have to now go to Ruka and undo that D-meal, and I guess then we'll see how much longer Mayushi lives, if it is just 1 day or if it is longer or if something else happens instead. The tricky one is going to be Moeka though. Moeka is going to be a real tricky one to solve and fix. We're going to have to essentially, like, kick her out of the group. Like, she's not going to be able to join us. That's the only way probably we can undo that. We need to figure out what her deal is. We need to understand what FB is. Has she got a chip under her eyelid? Is she brainwashed? Like, what is happening? When we get those answers, it's going to be very exciting, because, like, Moeka right now is kind of what Suzuha was to me a handful of episodes ago, where she's just full of mystery and I don't know what her deal is. I don't know what to think about her. But Moeka, it's going to be a hard one to sell me on being sympathetic towards her, I feel like, because I feel so angry that things are the way they are because of Moeka right now. And that's with full acknowledgement and recognition that she is being told and asked and ordered to do all these things. She's not just doing these things because she wants to, she is being ordered to. But even still, she's the one carrying out these killings 90% of the time that we've seen. And it hurts to watch, especially considering the fact that Moeka was so welcomed and liked by Mayushi. So it stings to see all these things that Moeka is doing to kill Mayushi in these instances. It really hurts. But we confide in Kurisu all of this stuff that's been happening, and Kurisu theorizes that undoing all of these previous D-meals might be able to change something. It might create the beta world line that we're looking for. And so that's what we do. We set off to go do this. And it's also very sad that every time we go to change something like this and we bring Kurisu on board and we have these really nice moments, we call her by her name. And she's like, I'm not going to remember this, am I? Every time. So at this point, I'm just waiting for them to have a moment where he does call her by her name and things actually change. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think this would be awful, but is it going to be right before she dies in, like, maybe the final episode, which is showing what happens in episode 1? He calls out her name to try to save her, and that's when she dies. I'm just thinking of the worst possible outcome, and that to me just seems like the most heartbreaking way that could happen. But yeah, the episode itself is very self-contained, I would say. Everything that happens in this episode is relevant to this episode, besides the beginning and the very, very end of this. Obviously, what happens in this episode, the outcome is very relevant to the main story, but this episode mostly focuses on Feyris and Okabe and trying to undo that D-meal that was sent by Feyris. And Okabe gets these really nice moments with Feyris where they have some really heart-to-hearts. But before all that, we of course have to defeat the darkness. We have to defeat the nerds, and the nerds are after Feyris because she's just too good at this game, and they cannot stand the fact that they lost to her, and they try to cheat and they try to do all this bullshit in order to beat her, but she's just built different. She's gonna beat them every time, and that's because she's Feyris, right? But we kind of break her mind by telling her that she did open May Queen, and we show her where it happened, we show her where, and we ask her about the D-meal, and she has no idea, because we know she did not send that D-meal in this world line. That did not happen. In this world line, her father received a message from a different world line version of herself, and this is the world line that they're living in where her father lives. And so once she enters May Queen and Okabe starts talking and starts to mention that Mayushi's life is in danger, she starts to see all of this stuff and she starts to remember, which is crazy because we have never seen anyone else do this before. And I wonder if this is just a Feyris exclusive thing, though I don't think it will be. I think this is going to be something that we will see the others maybe do as well, where they remember and they are aware of things that have changed. They're aware of what life was like, what life is like, what life could be like, all of these things all in one, like everything everywhere all at once type thing, where you're experiencing all of these different lives in one life. Like it's kind of scary to think of, but I think Feyris kind of handled it well at the same time. Like she was confused and she did say like she doesn't know how much longer she'll be able to experience all of this at once without knowing what is happening. You know, very Severance-esque, if you will. And I know there's plenty of other experiences where things like this happen, but I've watched Severance recently, so that's what's in my head right now. But because Okabe saved her from the creepy nerds, I think Feyris has an easier time believing and listening to and understanding and coming to the conclusion and the decision that she did. He took a beating for her and he was trying to stop them even then, but of course, like, it is her father that shows up and saves her, and that kind of says a lot, that her father is such an important person in her life, and her father does all these things for her and is very loving and loves her and she loves him, and it's hard to just imagine a future where we take that away from her once again. But at the same time, the version where that did happen, she was still happy. She was still Feyris, but the city was different. We had Moe and there was culture and there was just no father like in her life. And it is a very tricky, complicated concept that this episode deals with, where we are kind of correcting time, but also we're taking happiness and joy away from others, and we're taking a life away as well at once. So like it's just awful. And Feyris tells us everything that happened when it came to her father. She tells us everything that happened about her birthday when she was 8, and she really just bears herself to us. She calls us by our actual name. She asks us to call her by her actual name, and that's kind of like a very clear indicator that she is bearing her soul to us. She is not putting on this facade. She is not hoeing Kyoma-ing this shit up right now. She is Rumiho, and Rumiho wants to thank Okabe for these 10 years she has lived, but she recognizes that these 10 years should not exist. These 10 years should not be the case. Like, her happiness in this life is fabricated, and it is a dream that she has been living. It has been an incredible dream that she's been living, and I guess she's very grateful for these 10 years, but she is ready to move on. She is ready to accept the fact that that should not be the case and that she needs to undo it. And she then does very bravely do just that. She calls Okabe her prince, and acknowledges that Mayushi is a very dear friend and that she wants to save her. And so yeah, like, we just head towards the point in this episode where we send the text and undo that future. We undo that world line and we create the world line where Moe is back, Feyris is back to working in May Queen, Mayushi presumably is back to working in May Queen, and everything is as it was before we created that world line. But it's just very cruel the way we had to do that. Even though, yes, that should not have happened. It was a branch and we simply just removed that branch. But it's just awful to think that we had to ask someone to do what they did. And yeah, Feyris, what a brave character. What a great character for being able to do that. But I think it's really interesting that she mentions that they fought the darkness in the past. And I wonder if that is her indicator to us that she does remember everything, or if there's just this faint notion in her mind that she remembers something but not quite fully able to remember what it was. Like, I hope we learn about that, because I'd love to know if she actually remembers or if she just feels like she remembers something. But as we continue the episode, the IBM 5100 still is not at the shrine, so we still have to keep undoing stuff to get the 5100 to reappear, and it's going to reappear probably once we get Moeka out of the picture. But as the episode's ending, we look up and notice that the satellite is gone. What's up with that? That should not have happened. Have we changed too much? Have we caused something to happen that removes the satellite? Like, what's that about? Or is that another new thing that we're going to have to deal with? Did we think we were undoing branches, but really we're just creating more branches off that branch where that branch didn't happen, but that branch still exists? Like, it's a mess. Time is a mess, and I have no ideas or theories for what that means at the very end of the episode with the satellite gone, but I'm excited to find out what that is, and I hope that we get it in the next episode, or at least in the next coming episodes. But yeah, I think I'm going to wrap this one up. This has been a real head scratcher of an episode, and I hope that as the episodes go on, we get some more joy, some more happiness, and some more answers. But I hope that you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and comment down below letting me know your favorite kind of cafe. And yeah, that's going to do it for me for today. So I hope that you guys are having a great day and that you're able to take it easy. I will see you in the next one. Take care.